The Sikha we will be learning will be in the Sikhas Chelik Tazayan, and it's the Sikha, the second Sikha. This is the first Sikha of the project. Look at the Sikhas of this week. Starts off in a Pasuk by Chal Meishes Pnei Hashem Alakov. The Pasuk talks about the Egel. When Moshe Rabbeinu was up in Shemayim by Hashem, that's when the Eden down made the Egel because they didn't know what happened to Moshe. And Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu that your nation is Eden made an Egel. And David said, I'm going to destroy in a second, I'm going to destroy them for what they did. So the Pasuk says, Vayichal Meishes Pnei Hashem Alakov. Moshe pleaded with Hashem. Vayemer, and he said, Loma Hashem Yechrab Ba'amecha B'Gemer. Why Hashem should you be angry at your nation, etc. Actually, the word that Rasha quotes from the Pasuk, in some versions, some gears, it's these words, Loma Hashem V'Gemer, why Hashem, etc., which means Yechrabcho. Actually, in some versions, as the Rabbi brings in the Sikh later on, the heading of Rasha, the words that he quotes from the Pasuk, are actually the words Loma Hashem Yechrabcho. Why Hashem should you be angry? This is what Rasha says. This is what the Pasuk says. Is Rasha mafarish the verse Loma Hashem V'Gemer. Rasha explains what do these words mean. That what Moshe Rabbeinu really said to the Eibishter was, Klum iskane el chochom. What saying is, why are you so upset? When is somebody jealous of somebody else, which makes him angry, is a chocham is jealous of another chocham. Smart man of another smart man. A giber begiber, a strong person is jealous of another strong person. But basically saying, why in this case are you so upset? Now, what is Rasha trying to tell us? And where does Rasha get this? That why does Rasha have to say that this is what Moshe Rabbeinu said? So the Rebbe explains like this: the Pashtes is the Rasha usin to Bavorana b'Kirushi. The Pashtes simple pshat. What is Rasha trying to Bavorn to explain here in his pshat, in this pirush that he said? So like the Mefarshim say, the Mizrahi and the Gorarim, the Mamchaim, the Rebbe says no. They all explain it as follows. Since the Eden did such a terrible sin, such a grave sin, which is Avodah Zarah, of idol worship, Chet HaEgel, so we understand why Hashem was angry. So why is Moshe Rabbeinu asking, why are you upset? Why are you angry? We know why he's angry, because Eden did such terrible Avodah. So that's what's bothering Rashi in the Pasuk, because we know Rashi only explains something, says something on the Pasuk if there's something not clear, something not understood. So the question is, what's not understood in the Pasuk that Rashi has to explain that he said, don't be jealous is only a chochem, and a chochem, a giver, and a giver. What bothered Rashi was, what does the Pasuk mean? Moshe said, Loma Hashem Yechrab. Why are you angry? Why are you angry? Everyone knows why he's angry. David even did a terrible Avera. Und zu der to and because of this question, Zogan andere Mefarshim Ateiras, therefore other Mefarshim can learn, their main from Loma do, that the meaning of the word Loma here is not farvos, is not why, nor lay. No, don't. Das heißt, means like this. Moshe had gebeten by the Meibishten, Al Yechrab B'Amecha. Moshe was asking Hashem, do not be angry. So even though the expression in the Torah is, why are you angry? What he really meant to say was, don't be angry. Rasha, which explains everything in the simple meaning of the words, so healers know that even here, the word Loma means, in simple pshat, farvos. Why? Therefore, Rasha explains that if it means why, so what does Moshe mean when he says, why are you angry? So the Rasha explains what he meant. He's asking, why are you angry? There is no reason for you to be angry. While only a chochem is jealous of another chochem. A giver is jealous of another giver. But in your case, there's nobody, no other chochem like you. There's no other giver like you. So why are you angry? So Rasha does learn Loma means why. And he explains what did he mean when he said why? Because he said there is no reason for you to be angry. We have to understand. And that's a few shilas. Rasha in Parsha Yisro already explained. In Parsha Yisro, when it talks about the Seres Adibris, and the first one of the Seres Adibris is Anochi Hashem Alikecho, I am Hashem your God. And the word Alikecho is singular. Hashem is I am Hashem your God in a singular form. And Rasha wants to explain, why did Hashem say Anochi Hashem Alikecho singular? Why didn't he say Anochi Hashem Alikechem? I am your God plural, because he was talking to many people. So Rasha says there, at the time of the Rebbe, the reason why Hashem said, I am God, your God singular, Kedei zu liten pischem pele Moshe lelametz in the guri b'maisa hegel. That the Abish did it special to give Moshe an opening mouth, which means give him a way out when he came to defend the Yidden by the Egel. Rashi writes it by the Aseres Adibres that Hashem lechatchila said it in such a way, knowing that when Moshe Rabbeinu later will want to defend the Yidden concerning the Egel, so he said Elekecho as if he's speaking only to Moshe. That's Rashi over there says this is what Moshe meant when he said Lo Hashem yechra apcha ba'amecha. Why Hashem should be angry on your nation? You didn't tell them not to have other gods. You told it to me. You spoke singular. You were speaking to me. So Rashi already over there explains what Moshe Steiner was. The question is, what did Moshe mean when he said, why are you angry? We know why he was angry, Hashem, because he did Mavera. But over there, Rashi explained what he meant. You never told him not to sin Avodah Zarah. You told me, not them. You said, Olekecho. So if Rashi already explained over there the reason why he said, Lo Hashem yechra apcho ba'amecho, hein vervozucht Rashi do anander hasbara, if Moshe Rabbeinu Steiner Lo Hashem yechra apcho ba'amecho. So why is here Rashi looking for a different explanation? Over there, he explained already why Moshe asked him the reason and the meaning behind what Moshe meant when he said, why are you angry? Why does he give a different reason here? You can't say that Rebbe says, as Rashi meant to Mefarish and the Posik, like Beita Hasbaras. Maybe both are good pshatim. And Rashi wants to explain it according to both. And in the order 5, the Rebbe says, the Yom Mizrachi Taka says, they're both good pshatim. So really, both are good. When they bring Donidi Hasbara from Pasha Yisrei, and the reason why he doesn't bring the explanation he said in Pasha Yisrei, because he said it already. So B'meila, it's not a kasha. There are two pshatim. A lot of times we have two pshatim on the union. So there are two pshatim. One pshat Rashi wrote over there. Here he doesn't repeat it because he wrote it already. So he says the other pshat. You can't say that. But it's not mistaber. It's not seicheldik. As Rashi zoldo Pasha saying by Moker Indian that here is the place where the pasuk is written. Lo Hashem yechra apcha ba'amecha. So here, where the source of the union is, he can ganz nicht der Mann in Pirish. He shouldn't mention that pshat at all. Afilu bekitzer. In short, beloshen dobaracher kates say it's a second pshat. Sich verlassen like them, and Rashi would rely on this. Was there out as mafarash going, but der Chagav Leib came in Pasha Yisrei that he already explained it, and it wasn't that pasuk he was explaining. But by the way, he explained it, and it's not in the right place, and he relies here on what he said there. It's not clear. Rashi wouldn't do that. Especially that explanation is a much stronger explanation. According to that explanation, the time against Yidden is b'chal no time. You can't complain because you never told them not to do it. You only told me, not them. Not like over here. Over here, the Pshat says there's no reason you should be angry at the Yidden. They didn't have but what do you care? They worship Avodah Zarah. Avodah Zarah is nothing anyway. That's what he meant. Don't care. So here, it's not saying that they didn't do anything wrong. There's just no reason for you to be so angry. No reason for you to do this. But over there, the explanation makes it so that there's no question, no complaint at all. He didn't do anything wrong because you never told him. So that Pirish, if anything, he should have brought here. To say he brings it over there and doesn't bring it here, relying on there, it's not so clear. So you have to say that these two explanations of Rashi, the way he says it over there and the way he says it here, are coming to explain two separate, different inyonim, as follows. You have to understand, from Pashtas Loshen Rashi, from the simple Loshen of Rashi, just the simple meaning of his words, where he says, who's jealous? Only a chocham and another chocham, a giber and another giber. From these words is moving. Adrinya for miskana is the shaychas to the Avodah Zarah gufa. That he said miskana, that who could be jealous, is talking about the eipish the legabe Avodah Zarah. He wants to say, don't be jealous on the Avodah Zarah because they're not nothing. Only a chocham is jealous, another chocham, but they're not a chocham. So he's talking about Avodah Zarah. And lazat taine klap the meibish is the chepech hakovet. And such a taine, the Gabe the Eibishter, is not respectful. It's not respectful to say to the Eibishter, you're better than them. So why are you upset? You're better than them. Can we say that? I just want to mention it's like, even though he's saying that they're nothing, they're not Chocham, but even to say that Avodah Zarah is nothing is still a certain comparison. Like it says in the Geras HaKedesh in Tanya, that if you say one thing is not like the other, there's a connection. He says, for instance, no one is going to say that I heard such a brilliant idea. It's so brilliant, so great that you can't even touch it. Makes no sense. It's true you can't touch it, but it's not in that gather. You only say something you can't touch, something which is in the same category. This is touchable, this is not. But with Niseichel and touching makes no sense. So even here to say that the Eibishter is much greater than Avodah Zarah. You're the Chocham, they're not the Chocham. They're not the Chocham is also not respectful. It's bringing some kind of comparison. Why would Moshe Rabbeinu use that lotion? The way Rasha says that, that's what Moshe said. Nochmer, Kasha is more. The Taine Klumiskane, this Taine, that why would the Eibishter be upset or be jealous on the Avodah Zarah, is the Kasha was Agrifas Agoy or Gefrek by Rebbe Gamliel. This is a question that the Gemara in Avodah Zarah says that there was a Goy, his name was Agrifas, asked Rebbe Gamliel, if them was the Eibishter Vekton from Kilkana. There's a pasuk that says that the Eibishter is called Kilkana, a god of jealousy. And he asked Rebbe Gamliel the Shaila, what do you mean jealous? Why was he jealous? And who is he jealous? He's jealous on the Avodah Zarah. So he asked the Shaila, why would he be jealous? Is a Chocham jealous only another Chocham, but not Stamazeh? Rebbe Gamliel hat him geantwortet mit Amoshel, Adam Iskana is nicht in der Avodah Zarah, nor in the Eivd Avodah Zarah. So he answered it with Amoshel, but the answer was that Hashem is not jealous, not upset at the Avodah Zarah, that he couldn't care less. He's upset at the people who worship the Avodah Zarah. That's the answer. He's a so it's not understood. Rasha here says that the Eibishter, when he said, is a Chocham is only jealous of another Chocham, etc. Why are you jealous of Avodah Zarah? So it seems like Rasha is saying that he was telling the Eibishter, don't be jealous on the Avodah Zarah. When in the Gemara there it says that that's not, the Eibishter not jealous. The Eibishter, when he does take revenge and expresses his jealousy, so to speak, whatever it is only on the people who worship Avodah Zarah. He said the movement, so it's not understood. Number one, let's assume that we have some kind of reason that this is what Moshe Rabbeinu said. So far we didn't say where does Rashi get it from. Where does Rashi get it from? But let's say Rashi has a proof that Moshe Rabbeinu used this lotion. Why are you miskane? Because only a chocham is miskane and a chocham, the giber and the giber. So why are you miskane? Why does Rashi learn that the time Moshe had to the Eibishter was concerning why are you jealous in the Avodah Zarah? That was the question of the Goy of Agrifas. Why is the Eibishter jealous in the Avodah Zarah? So why does Rashi learn pshat like that? Is the time information. Not like the Medrash says the time of Moshe was different. Not on the Avodah Zarah. Time of Moshe is why are you jealous of the people that worship Avodah Zarah? Rashi doesn't mention anything about the people. It just says, why are you jealous? A Chocham should be jealous in another Chocham. But you, why are you jealous in them, in this? Meaning the Avodah Zarah. Why does Rashi pick that? In Medrash, and on the spot, on the posting, in Medrash, it says different, the time of Moshe. What Moshe said was like this. Omar, he said like this, Rabbeinu Elohim, creator of the world. You're complaining why you even did the Egel. Also, loch seyua. They gave you a help. They gave you an aid to help you. Bata ke'es aleim. And you're angry at them, they're trying to help you. They gave you something to help you. The Egel that they made will help you. Also, some shtickle God is going to help you. Omar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so the Eibush said, Moshe, you're also making the same mistake. It's nothing. What do you mean they're going to help me? Moshe answered it, why are you angry at your children about the Avodah Zarah? Don't be angry at them. What they worshipped was nothing. It's a nothing that's the worship. But thus is, if Rashi would have said that pshat, is mera loshen shel kavod. The loshen shel kavod. We're not comparing the Eibush to. It's just a loshen of kavod saying that the Avodah Zarah is nothing bechlal. So why should you be angry at the people of worship? And in the second thing, in them is mutkish nor dekas aleim olanecha. This would stress that the Eibush is angry at the people, at the nation, at your children. So why would he mention that the Eibush is mekana and Avodah Zarah? Why can't Rashi learn the same thing? But he was saying, why are you angry at the Eden when the Avodah Zarah is nothing? All they did was worship Avodah Zarah, which Avodah Zarah is nothing. The second question, the Baldas of the time of formation to maybe Shnklum is Kana, Lachacham, Gibe, Gibe. Gefindt man nicht, the Schute Shemikra can answer. Since this time that Moshe said to Eibush, Chacham is only, who's Miskana, Chacham and Chacham, etc. We don't find an answer in Pshat, in simple plastic. So it's neglected, so it's not simple. According to them, what's so terrible about Avodah Zarah? Don't have other gods, don't make another god. Since they're not a Metzias anyway. In other words, the way the question has to be learned is, since there is no reason to be angry at the Avodah Zarah itself, that's what we say now. So it means that Avodah Zarah itself is a big deal. So why is it so terrible if you worship the Avodah Zarah? You're worshiping something which is not really worshiping another God. It's nothing. In other words, the Rebbe is connecting it. Since the Taina, according to Rashi, was, why are you angry at the Avodah Zarah? Meaning that Avodah Zarah is nothing. That's what he's trying to tell him. And there is no answer. The Avodah Zarah taka nothing. So then what's taka so terrible worship? I understand it's not good, but why is it a shturim? Why is it such a big, terrible thing when the Avodah Zarah is really nothing in itself? Also is not understood. Why does Rashi give two examples? That who is jealous, a chochem and a chochem, and a giver and a giver? Why need two? Why wouldn't one be enough? Why do you have to have two examples? You can't say the fire does the lashon posik. You can't say that maybe the reason is because that's the lashon of the posik. Al yishalo chochem b'chachmasei nagir b'kbrosei. Lashon of the posik is a chochem should not be praising himself, show pride in his chachma, and the giver, a strong man, should not show pride in his gura. So the posik mentions these two. So Rashi also mentioned these two. Now, and same thing in the story before. In this, so that it says in the Chazal, it says the lashon chacham b'chachmas and giber b'gvurosei. And here it would be chacham b'chacham and giber b'giber. The Mele Rashi mentions both the way it's mentioned in the story in the Chazal and the posik. So the Rebbe says you can't say that. While in posik, when them sipara now, sign the posik and sign the way the Chazal say this, the story with the goy, is do echadriter in you. There, if you're going to copy what it says there it says a third thing. Osher b'oshrei. B'osher. That a rich man is, only a rich man is jealous of another rich man. But a rich man is not jealous of a poor man. So he mentions that too. So for Rashi is only bringing these two, because that's how the posik says, and that's how the tzipur is. On Rashi is also mashman, should have brought that also. Why doesn't it bring that? Obviously, it's not because it's written there in the posik and in the story. The second thing, we know that the Nutz Rashi Keif Arichas B'chlal, Rashi double says things twice, and B'chlal goes into Arichas says things longer. Dafke when they beide or the Arichas are in the gates of Pirish and Shut. Whatever Rashi brings, an extra thing and a long thing, explains, it's only because those things are important to the simple pshat of the psukim. Or neither farva lazay the loshin in posuk nor razal, and not because that's a loshin in posuk and razal. Even when Rashi quotes a posuk, and he quotes a Ma'amer Chazal, he only quotes it because the words that's written there is negated to pshat in the posuk, and that's why a lot of times Rashi quotes Chazal and changes the word because the way it's negated to pshat is different. So you can't say that the reason Rashi brings these two is because that's the loshin of the posuk or the loshin Chazal. Because first of all, there, if so, it would bring the third one also. And Bechlal, that's not the way Rashi goes. So you have to understand what's the inyan in pshat of the posik, negeya chocham b'chocham and giber b'giber. The Bir Bezetz's explanation is like this. The hechra from Rashi of Zayin Pirish Klum Miskane v'chulu. What forces Rashi to say this pshat b'chal that Rashi that Moshe said to the Eibush the Klum Miskane chocham b'chocham giber b'giber is from them. Is from this. Because on these words, Loma Hashem, etc., from the posuk that Rashi quotes in the heading, or in the words Loma Hashem Yachrapcha, which other prints, other versions have the heading, the Dibur HaMaskal of Rashi, all four words Loma Hashem Yachrapcha. What said is mighty that he's quoting from the posuk. So these the Rebbe always learned Rashi quotes the words which are negated to the pshat. It doesn't put any extra words. So here, these words Rashi has a problem. Is it klatik? Rashi has a problem with these words. What is the problem? After Hashem said to Moshe, now let go of me. I will be angry at them and I will destroy them, etc. But so the first thing Moshe Rabbeinu should have said, why will you destroy them? Why will you destroy them? The first thing you got to talk about the destruction. When there's the Nochlam Hashem Yechrapcha, and then talk about why are you angry. But the first thing Moshe should have said, when they should destroy them now, Moshe should have said, please don't destroy them. Why will you destroy them? First he said, why is Hashem angry? And then he gave him the chalesim, and then it was why he said, I'll destroy them. Why did Moshe Rabbeinu start with saying, why are you angry? So the asbora in them, so the answer is like this, the explanation is like this. At the Metzim Chiv Misa Farancheta Egel, for the main thing that the Eibishter wanted to kill the Eden because they sinned with the Egel, is Moshe Rabbeinu Kakashan again. There was no question. We know that. Steitchen Frier in the Torah, it's written already early in the Torah, as I know, Kama v'Kama Avedas welches sekunta in the Shmisse. For welches kommt in the Shmisse Rachmanu. So there are many Avedas that the punishment is death. Rachmanu v'Tzlav. When you find in container with me, then don't find that should be a question by anybody. Why did the person die? The time therefore was moving the pashtas. The reason is simple. For a harbor Aveda, come to harbor Einish. Misa. For a very strict Aveda, very terrible Aveda, the punishment is a terrible punishment, which is death. Rachmanu v'Tzlav. The question that Moshe Rabbeinu had, and he was wondering, the way David said he'll punish, which was va'achaleim, I will destroy them. There must be a special reason why David used that lashon va'achaleim. Why is it special? This is not the regular case that person deserves to die for a big aveda. It's a klal in Torah. There's a rule in the Torah. The chiyuv ein shmisa ken zayin dafke that the punishment of Misa could only be when you have two witnesses. No, and there was a warning. And after Bezdin investigated with all kinds of investigations, then the person would die for the Aveda. Even when the Torah doesn't even say that, the Torah just says is a magician, a black magic woman, person should not live. Now, what is the simple meaning of the words? Simply it means that you're not allowed to allow a machshefa to live. Rashi says no. That you should kill any machshefa you see. She has to die in Bezdin. So that's why Rashi explains it, because in the pasuk itself you might think it means machshefa shouldn't live. Anytime you see a machshefa, kill a machshefa. It has to go through Bezdin. There's no such thing as just start killing somebody for an Aveda, even if it's for a bad thing, for an Aveda. Nochmer. The Rebbe goes further. The Rebbe is speaking all kinds of things that we learned already in Psukim before, because as the Rebbe has the klal, that Rashi only, when he relies on something, is only things that we learned before in Chumash or in Rashi. So these things, what we learned already, we know from before. So the Rebbe wants to explain why in Pshat, Moshe Rabbeinu did not have a question why David wants to just kill them, to give them Misa. Because we learned before already that certain things you get Misa. Now the Rebbe goes even further. By the first sin, the Rebbe clearly said, when he warned Odom Elisha, he said, don't eat from. And he said, the day that you will eat, you will die. We still see as Odom Elisha, as far as our neighbors are nicht bestraft geworden mit einer Schmisse, that Odom Elisha was not punished to die as soon as he ate from it. Misa take it from Yad V'Chal didn't die as a punishment that we see, and certainly not right away. He left 900 he lived 930 years, then he was punished. So the fact that they get punished, we understand, but it has to be a process. There has to be a whole thing till you get to it. By the sin of the Egel, but the Rebbe gesagt, now let go of me and I'm going to destroy them. The Einish is Misa und bald noch ein Chet. The English, the punishment for them is death, and right away, right after the Aveda, which means without any time taking to investigate to figure out. Und noch mehr, v'chale meint alle Eden. More. And he says, I will destroy them, means all the Eden. Even those that did not participate in sinning the Egel. Now, where do we know? Maybe it only meant those that sinned with the Egel. He says, from the weiteren Hemshech Hadibur, because what did David say? I'll destroy them, and I'll make you into a big nation. If it doesn't mean destroying them all, why did he say, I'll make you into a nation? There are still even going to be left. Shows that when David said, I'll destroy them, and I'll make you in a big nation, there will be no Eden left. That means I'll destroy them all. And with Rasha said, what did Moshe say to Hashem? Why it's not good that you'll make me into a big nation? If a chair of 3 legs doesn't stand in front of you at your time of your anger, because The Yidden had a chair of 3 legs, the others. Certainly, if it's going to be just my descendants, means there'll be a chair with 1 leg won't stand. So from this all shows that what was David was going to say, that all these Yidden are not going to be here anymore, we'll start something new. And that's where Moshe answered, it won't work. But we see that David said, I'm going to destroy them right away, everybody. Such a punishment cannot be just for the Aveda itself. Aveda itself, there's a whole process how you kill the person. Noval says, David shall be angry at them. That means it is a special anger that David had here. And the father, that's why it was so strict. More than you deserve for the Aveda itself. So obviously, this was a special anger that the Eibishter had here at the Yidden. And that's why he said, I'll destroy them all, because it was beyond the Aveda itself. This is what Moshe answered. Why should you be angry? The question was, why didn't he start off saying, why kill him? Couldn't ask why kill him. Because they should say, because it is Aveda Zarah. What's the problem? What's the question? He said, I see the way you said it. You said it that you're very angry about it. Why are you angry? Angry is a certain, and we're using all these expressions by the Eibush, even though the Eibush is beyond all this, but that's the way we use it to relate to it. Especially in Pshut Shel Mikro, we use it in a way, the way a child learns and looks at it in a simple way, knowing the way it's by people. And the same way we apply to the Eibush, obviously it's not simple, but that's the way we learn Pshut Shel Mikro. So Moshe said, why are you angry? Klum iskana l'chocham b'chocham. Only a chocham and a chocham is jealous, and a gibber and a gibber. But why are you? You're angry means, see, and he's saying like this, we could understand why they need a strict, terrible punishment for a very strict Aveda. Certainly, when serving other gods, makes no sense. To really think that they have some amoshet, they have some meaning to it. There's no place for this in the person's emotions, feelings. To have a taiva, to have a desire to it. The Rashi is Mefarish Rashi explained earlier, Sheinan and Lakus. They're not God, not God, and not such a great God. They're nothing. Other people decided that they considered them God. That's it. It's a male movement as far as Achet kommt ein Schomer. So I understand, as if Moshe was saying, I understand why they deserve a very strict punishment. Aber von dem was der Eibush had gesagt va'achalei, but since the Eibush said right va'achalei, which means I will destroy them. Number 1 means on bez, no bez. Number 2, take it from me out right away. Number 3, as we said, Ali, and that's something beyond the scope of the Aveda. That shows that das ist ein Einisch, was kommt nicht nur mit Zad oder Hesem zu Chet von der Egel. That this punishment doesn't come just in conjunction with the Aveda that they did. No, das ist mit Zad Charein af b'shaychet zur Aveda Zarah Guf. It must be because the Eibush is so upset with Aveda Zarah. If he's just talking about what the people did, this wouldn't be the punishment. The punishment could be the Eibush said, slowly I will kill them, I will this, I will, and those that didn't do, I won't kill. That would be with a real normal process. Why would the Eibush be so upset? It must be because of the Aveda Zarah. And it sounds like the Eibush is angry because the Aveda Zarah, I don't even want to use these words, Chas V'Sholem, but it's almost like saying the Eibush didn't like his competition. So when they did this, so the Aveda is a big Aveda, but not only that, you did something against me, but you went to my competition. I'm just using that term. I shouldn't have. So that's why the Eibush said, I'm going to get to the finish with them because Aveda Zarah they went to this. That's what it seems like. Moshe said to the Eibush, Lo Ma'ashem Yecher Apcho, it's at the Megel Azov. Why are you angry? And it seems like you're angry because it's the Egel. It's the Egel that's getting you angry because this is something that you're upset that they went to the Egel. And for that he said, Klum iskana el chocham b'chocham. Jealousy could be a chocham and a chocham, and the giver and the giver. But the Egel is auch kemetzias nicht. David says nothing. Ados algerim sein dem iskana dem chareinav shedingeda that you're jealous, which is the equivalent of the chareinav, the anger. The anger means upset about why you were going there. So, so why should you, since the Egel is not a Metzias, the Zorah is not a Metzias, why should you be upset? Miskane, which also means upset, in the Aveda Zorah. Why are you upset in the Aveda Zorah? Und das darf from the Meinish Vachalim. And that's what brought out that you said you're going to destroy them in the form of Vachalim. If alle Yidden will take it from Yad, all the Yidden are right away. So and Moshe is asking the Eivishter, it seems like here that you're upset if it's Avodah Zarah, not upset with it. Even though you're upset, okay, that's simple upset, but you would do it differently. It must be because it's the Egel that's there. That's what's bothering you. And he says, why is it bothering you? It's nothing. And it seems like, so far it seems, even the Rebbe didn't say it, that this answers the other kasha. The kasha was before on page 7, the page before the end of Sif Beis, that according to Moshe Rabbeinu's tiny to the Eibush, the Klum is Kane Chochem Gibber. What's so terrible of a worship in Avodah Zarah? What's so terrible? That's what the Rebbe asked. If the Egel is nothing, the Bazang Shnich Kametzias, what's so terrible? So it seems like this here will be the answer. What Moshe said had nothing to do with whether it's not so bad to worship Avodah Zarah. See, the way we learned before, it would seem that this includes that Avodah Zarah is nothing. But why should you be? Why is it so terrible to worship Avodah Zarah? Now we're saying we know that it's terrible to worship Avodah Zarah, and that's not what Moshe Steiner wasn't that. Moshe Steiner is why is there chareinav? Why are you so upset when really it's nothing? But we're talking about the question was on the people who worship Avodah Zarah. That has nothing to do with this pasuk, or nothing to do with Moshe Rabbeinu's Taina. Moshe Rabbeinu's Taina, why are you angry at Avodah Zarah itself? The people shouldn't worship Avodah, and Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't talking about the people talking. So V'meila, you can't say, well, after this, it's not so terrible to do Avodah Zarah. From this Indian, there's nothing to do with terrible for the people to worship. It's terrible for the people to worship. But the Eibush shouldn't have an extra, he should punish the people according to what they did. But he shouldn't have an extra anger and being upset for as a competition. That's, so to speak, if we could use that lotion. That's not shaykh. This explains also why here Rasha doesn't bring the other pshat that he brought in Yisrael. That why did the Eibush say singular, to give Mesha an opening? That's what Mesha meant when he said, why are you angry at your nation? And Mesha Rabbeinu said, he didn't command them, he told me, so he can't be upset at them. So the question that I've asked, why doesn't Rasha bring it here? Rasha over there explains why Mesha Rabbeinu said, so why doesn't he bring it here? But now we know the answer. And as you see, the Rebbe stressed here, this is, but over there Rasha says that this is the reason why Mesha said, why are you angry at Amecha? And this is a pshat. Dort is Rasha Mefarish that Gosha from Mesha Steiner. There, Rasha explains the stress in Mesha Steiner. The Pirish versus Negir, Dort Navasar from Siwa. The way it's important, the way the pasuk is written there. The Rebbe has a lot of times that you do find other times also that the Rebbe, that Rasha brings on the same pasuk two Pirushim. In one pasuk he explains it that way, and in connection to the other pasuk, and the other pasuk explains it a different way. Because in each place the pasuk is trying to bring out something else. So here too, you're talking about the same pasuk, Lo Hashem Yechab Chabamech, but the way it's explaining there is another prat than here, and therefore there he explains it one way, here explains it another way. So over there he explains that Moshe Rabbeinu stressed with his taina as his doa, and the Eibush told him, "Doa pischem peh afilafar the evdeo egelatzman." There it's talking about that you could even find a defense for the people who worship the Egel. As they too are not, you can punish them. So the because the Eibush said, "Don't have gods." When he said it to me. So when you learn the pasuk there, so the Eibush said something that you could explain means only to Moshe. So that's the reason why you can't punish the Eden B'chlal. You can't punish him for something you never told him not to do. And that's the way Rasha learns over there. That's explaining the pasuk like that. But when you learn the pshat and the simple pshat here, the Sipur Kol Amedim, when you look at the whole story, there the whole story is not mentioned. There he just brings one pasuk. Moshe Rabbeinu said, "Why you?" In these words, Lo Hashem Yechab Chabamech likt. In that it contains also the idea, don't punish even B'chlal. That's what Moshe said over there. That Eibush said to Moshe, "I'm giving you a pischem peh." But here, when you look at the whole story, is muchach from them loshen lama Hashem yecher abcho. Here, when you stress the words that why are you angry? As the tiny is not even etzemenish from the egel. Here, if you look in the details of the pasuk, he's not telling him why are you angry at that? Why are you punishing the people who worship the egel? But of the meaning for yecher abcho, but even of being angry, the shaykha to the Rabbi Zara Alein, connections of the Zara, canal by Nucha, like I explained before. And that's the reason why here Rashi explains more in detail that he's taining yecher abcho. Because you look at the psuk, the kvetch is yecher abcho, and we see the way the Eibusha said, from that, we have to explain what's at the time was, why are you angry? And it seems like you're angry at the egel, because that's the reason you're doing what you're planning to do, what you did in such a way. Over there, we don't see the details of the story. There, all we're looking in the pasuk, why are you angry at your nation? So Rashi is explaining that Hashem gave him a place to say that don't even be angry at the people, don't punish the people b'chol. Not medayik in the for that your anger. Because in that pasuk, it's not here the way that I've explained. You have to look at it. Why didn't Moshe Rabbeinu start speaking about the Einish? It must be that's only on anger, as I've explained before. But therefore, here the tiny is on Avodah Zarah. Why are you upset with Avodah Zarah? The Zarah is nothing. But over there, it's simple pshat. The way it's saying, why are you angry at your people? And Rashi says, he said, "You're God to Moshe Rabbeinu, and you shall not have other gods." And that was an opening thing for Moshe Rabbeinu to be able to defend Eden, not him to be punished at all. Based on everything we said, is this explains why Rashi brings these two things: Chacham v'Chacham, Gibber v'Gibber. That you should not be be jealous, so to speak, of the Zarah, because only a Chacham is jealous of a Chacham and a Gibber and a Gibber. And the question was, why does he bring two things? And it can be because in the pasuk it says because there it says three things, and Rashi doesn't bring it from the pasuk if it's not negated to the pshat. So these two things must be negated to the pshat. What is it? So Rebbe explains it like this. In the Meibish's Dibur to Moshe, Lech Reik Shichas Amcha, the Meibish's spoke to Moshe, and he said, Moshe Rabbeinu was still in Shamayim. The Meibish's told Moshe Rabbeinu to go down, Kishichas Amcha, because your nation did Mavera, made an egel. But they gesagt, and the Meibish's said like this. What did they do? Sora Ma'arim and the Derech HaShitzvisim. They turned away fast from the path, the way I told them. Also, they made themselves a calf. By Shtachvole, they bowed down to it. By Yizbuchole, and they slaughtered korbanos. By Yemra, and they said, Eile lekecha Yisrael, this is your God, Asher Eilucha Meretz Mitzrayim, that took you out of Mitzrayim. So the Eibishter told Moshe right away what they did, mentioning also that they said that the Egel is the one that took him out of Mitzrayim. Now, the question is, why does the pasuk? The Rebbe is going to ask, why does the pasuk have to mention that? What's the gear that they also said it? The main thing is they made a negel of worshiping Avodah Zarah. What's the gear that they said you took it out of Mitzrayim? Sagam the Eden the Stake gesagt. Well, the pasuk says it because that's what the Eden said. Now, even though maybe it seems like from Asher that the Erev Rav said it, doesn't mean that the Eden said it. But the Peo that they did say it. See, Rashi, the Rebbe in the Horror brings it. The Erev Rav said it. No, Horror 28, I mean. He says that even though the Erev Rav did this all, but Rashi says, that he didn't follow them, even though it started all with them, and that's what he said. This is your God that took you out of Mitzrayim. So the Erev Rav said it to the Eden, but Rashi says, and then they got the Eden involved. So the Eden said it also. So the Eden Taka said these words, that this is the God that took us out of Mitzrayim. Aber Tzibul bringt us the pasuk. What does the pasuk have to bring it? Vos is negayet, negayet lachet, v'nosla mega masech v'shtachkolei, yizbucholei. What's important for the harshness of the Aveda that they made an egel, they bowed down to it, they shechter korbanos to it. So why is it important to say, Azehom der Baigezog, that they said, this is your God that took you out of Mitzrayim. Why is that important? Now, there is like a same thing we find. When Moshe answered Hashem, what did he say? Loma Hashem. Why should you be angry at your nation? As a fear to, so what does he say then? Asher et say, so Mitzrayim, that you took out of Mitzrayim with great keach and with a strong hand. Why is that important here? Sign David's words to Moshe, sign Moshe to David. Obviously, this plays a role. The fact that the Eden said that that's some kind of a role that plays in this whole union here. But from them, Gufi is Achoche. From that itself is a proof, as the Charei Naf, the union from Iskane, that the anger of the Eibishter against the Avodah Zorah, which is the Kine, which means jealousy, or the upset the Eibishter, got Ashaychis, Ich mit dem, was he gesagt, Eile Lekech Yisrael, Asher Luchem at the time. It's not only because they worship the Avodah Zorah. It also what the Eibishter said, that they even said that the Egel took you out of Mitzrayim. That got Eibishter more upset. We said Eibishter upset at the Avodah Zorah. Not that the Eden deserved the name, we said, but the Eibishter was upset that they took the Avodah Zorah, which is nothing, instead of me, like Kaviyachol. And not only that, they said that the Egel took out of Mitzrayim. That's what got the Eibishter angry. And of them is given Tainus Meisha. That's why, since part of the upsetness of the Eibishter was that they claimed that the Egel took out of Mitzrayim and not the Eibishter, that's why Moshe Rabbeinu said, Klum iskana in beida protim. Why are you jealous? You shouldn't be jealous in both protim, because only a chochem is jealous of a chochem of another chochem, and a giver another giver. Rabbi, what does it got to do with this? They said he took it out of Mitzrayim. Rabbi explanations like this: if the Rusfin, the Eden from Mitzrayim, and Fina they midbot, in order to take the Eden out of Mitzrayim and to take them to the desert, what was needed for that is two things: chochme and gura. Chochme, being smart, and strength. Aber nitok in hechra from Ashiris. There's nothing, doesn't anywhere say that didn't have to take it out, in order to take it out of Mitzrayim to be rich. We see this movement as we understand that the protein in Tissa Mitzrayim v'chulu. We know that the details of going out of Mitzrayim and with the Nisim and the Flores, with the wonders, the miracles that Hashem did, seine Gewinn verbunden mit Grace Chochme. That's Chochme, the way to bring about these Nisim. Und Gvura, that to be strong, beim Durchführen Bepel, when it actually took them out, you need Gvura. So to go out of Mitzrayim, you need Chochme, the Eibishter's Chochme and Gvura. But Eid, also, das was Eid the Egel am gewollt hilf. This, that the Chulu, when they looking for the Avodah Zorah to help, they look for help. So they didn't look, it's not in the Gei Ashiras, they didn't look for that the Avodah Zorah should give him, make him rich. They already were very rich from Bizas Mitzrayim by taking the things out of Mitzrayim, or Nachmar from Bizas Hayam. So both things. So Sai, the Eibush to take him out of Mitzrayim, needed Chochmeh and Gvura and not Ashiras, not an Ashiras. And besides that, maybe they wanted the Avodah Zorah to give them Ashiras. That certainly they didn't want. They didn't care. That wasn't, they need that, they had, they didn't need it. Und das hat Moshe Rabbeinu gesagt. That's what Moshe said. Loma Hashem yechrab. Why are you angry? Der Miskane in the Megil hat doch genoten. You to be jealous, so to speak, or being angry because of on the Avodah Zorah itself, it has no place. From Klum Miskane lechochem b'chochem giver b'giver. Your Miskane, one of the things your Miskane told me the Eibishter, that they apply the Tzias Mitzrayim to the Egel. That means they said the Egel has Chochmeh. He took it out of Mitzrayim because to take out of Mitzrayim with Chochmah. The Egel had Gvura. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, and that you're angry. The truth is that the Eibishter took out of Mitzrayim with the strong Keach, the strong hand, and not the Egel chas v'sholem. And not the Egel. The Avodah Zorah hat nicht gechochmet in der Gvura, has no Chochmah and Gvura. So wie ich eigentlich zum Miskane sein mit Avodah Zorah? Why could you be upset with Avodah Zorah? So Rashi picked that Moshe said these two things, because these two things is what is Yitzias Mitzrayim, and it seemed like the Eibishter was upset that they said that the Egel took it out of Mitzrayim. So Moshe said, what are you upset about? The Egel has no Chochmah. So it's just a joke to say that the Egel took out of Mitzrayim. The Egel did the Chochmah and the Egel had the Gvura. That's what Moshe meant. Okay, and that's why Rashi says it. So now we understand why Rashi says this, because simple pshat and posik is not clear. Why was there a Charei Naf? And the Charei Naf is something special here, and that's on the Avodah Zorah. And the Charei Naf was also because of the Yitzias Mitzrayim that he said. Therefore, Rashi brings these two Chocham in Giber and doesn't bring Osher, because even though it's mentioned in the posik, mentioned it in Chazal, but in pshat it has nothing to do, so Rashi doesn't mention it. Then the Rebbe says, "Meyene shetoyer pirish Rashi, Chassidus that's in Rashi." After everything is said and done, we still need to understand. Chotschas ben Geir, Rabbi Zora hat kein Ort in sich zu Miskane sein. Even though true, concerning Rabbi Zora itself, there's no place to be jealous. But Klum Miskane l'chocham give it. Only a chocham and a chocham is jealous to give and the giver. Tzadivos from din the Megil. But look at it. It's at those who worship the Egil. And he said, Simon said, this is your God that took you out of Mitzrayim. Is the Chachura do anort has a show from Miskane. David should be Miskane, which means jealous. Also, Miskel Kana means David, which takes revenge. In the Ev de Egel. Sure, Miskane and the Ev de Egel. The Balta Zeam, the Gemeint as the Egel is a Chochman and give it. So David, Mesh was telling Taka, David Zora is nothing. The problem is the people thought that it was. And if the people thought it was, David should be Miskane and the people for the same reason. You say only a Chocham is Miskane and a Chocham, not if a Chocham, only if the other one is also a Chocham. The Chocham is Miskane. But they thought that they was a Chocham. So David should be Miskane in them. They be it in them. So the answer is, Yid mitzaratzme hot mit kentos na David. A Yid himself, Be'emes, never makes a mistake that David Zora has a koyach. Erveisados is not an eitz ve'even. He knows this is a piece of wood, rock. The gitnit keshum chshivas of David Zora. Yid Betzim doesn't give any importance to David Zora. Our fila. Even if they're actually doing the Aveda, worshiping it, doesn't really believe it. From Gambeshas Acheto is it says in Tanya, even when he eats sins, Be'etzim is Neshama is close to Hashem. Kemaimer ad Murazokim, like Alter Rebbe said, Ayid need to reveal or need to ken and not be from Lakus. Ayid doesn't want and can't be separated, torn away from the Eibishter. So Ayid doesn't believe in Avodah Zarah. And those are the Avodah Zarah gesagt, but the fact that person of worship said, this is your God. The snor der farvas nichnas beiruach shtus. It's like the Gemara says, Eino dem ever aveda el imke nichnas beiruach shtus. A person doesn't do an aveda unless a spirit of stupidity falls into his mind. Und der Fund kommen as gereid. Whatever you say that's stupid, it's all because there's a ruach shtus, but that's not really you. But the ruach shtus is a besondere Sache from the Mieden alone. It's a ruach shtus nichnas bei. Something from the outside came into him. But he himself not. So even though the Eden said, this is your God, it was some superficial thing in them that said, it's not really them. And this is the kind of Moshe. This is what Moshe meant. Why are you angry at the people? Before he said, why are you angry? It's nothing. Now he's saying, even mitzad the people, you shouldn't be. Mitzad the Eden. Darf mit sein kenort of miskane. You shouldn't be miskane, you shouldn't be angry at them, and you shouldn't have this jealousy, so to speak. Weil mit hat Mehusam, über seinen ganzen Muschel zu machen, da wird Zora als Chocham oder gibt. Because from the Mehusam, the essence of a Yid, does not give any importance, chas v'sholom, to the Zora, not that it's a Chocham, not that it's a Gibet. And the Riber is Kolum Iskane, Chocham, Gibet. So why be angry at them when they don't even think that he's a Chocham? So, because the Kasha was, but they think he's a Chocham, they think he's a Gibet. So, they Iskane and the people who think so. So he says, no. They don't even think so. There's only a chocham, give it, and not in the people who believe in David Zora because they don't really believe it's a chocham, but a give it. This like a cause when Moshe had this taina, according to both, according to why are you angry at David Zora? Why are you angry because of David Zora? Also, why are you angry at the people that did David Zora? So nothing. And Taka David accepted it. And David said, Vaynochem Havai, and David Taka changed, so to speak, his mind. And David forgave him for David.
Shkoyach, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Yes, good night.